What gender-based double standard infuriates you the most? When was the last time you saw a man in a yogurt commercial? I like yogurt too, damn it. I believe that Burn Notice is actually just a long-running well-written yogurt commercial. Michael Weston does love his yogurt. Those commercials where men cannot use paper towels. Only their wives know. Only women can unlock the power of wiping liquids off surfaces. It's all benevolent sexism where advertisers pitch to the sex of the person they think will buy the product based on an idea that people buy into an amplified version of what their gender is supposed to be good at. We all can wipe liquids off surfaces. Men aren't too dumb to do it and women aren't particularly skilled in the field. Women can't be logical. Men can't be emotional. This has pretty much sums up sexism for the past few millennia. Male elementary school teachers are always viewed as potential kiddie fiddlers. That's funny. I've always liked male teachers more than female teachers. They just seem way more laid back than female teachers. Most of them, anyway. One of my best friends was a teacher for 2 years. Was what he went to college for. One of the reasons he quit was the fact that anytime a female student needed help after school or during his planing period he had to call another teacher into the room to just sorta hang out due to the risk he could be accused of something. I'm in several bands. I play saxophone mostly, as you might assume from my name. As a woman, I get taken way less seriously. People assume that I'm with the band, not in it. The guys get asked, "What do you play?" I hardly ever get asked that. If I tell people I'm in the band, they almost always ask, "So, you sing?" And frequently I get, "So, you sing?" Not even a question. Nothing against singing. Indeed, I do enjoy singing also. But the assumptions are annoying since I do see how gender-based they are. Just one example. From last night. So, we get into the venue and a guy asks if I need help with my stuff. I know a sincere "would you like some help?" from a guy acting like he can't believe a woman is carrying something heavy and is being patronizing about it. It was the latter. I say no thanks. I got it. And smile politely. The guy then asks, "Which one of them is your boyfriend?" "None of them." Then the bartender yells at the guy and says, "Stop hitting on the band." He replies, "I'm not hitting on the band. I'm hitting on the blonde." Thanks dude. I try to maintain some sense of just being flattered by the stuff yelled my way by guys who want to get in my pants. That's how I deal with it and sometimes even enjoy it. Despite knowing that the guys in my band don't have to think about being on as a sex object when performing. They don't have as much pressure to smile back and be friendly and not a beach to the audience. They don't have to worry about not looking sexy enough to be a valued performer. They don't have to worry about looking middle-aged or not showing enough skin while worrying about their dress coming up too far during the show. I think that there is a little bit of a stigma surrounding stay-at-home fathers, which is not a huge deal but is a little frustrating. I'd take the stigma. I'm a dad, and given the choice between working outside of the house and being a stay-at-home dad, I'd absolutely choose the latter. Unfortunately, that's not financially realistic for my family at this point in time, but if it was, I'd do it in an instant. I'm not suggesting I think being a stay-at-home parent is easier than working an outside job. I just prefer to spend as much time in dad mode as I can. I like that you said that it's not easier, and I think it's something that people don't consider. If someone chooses to be a stay-at-home parent, they are given the "oh, lucky you don't have to work" kind of look. While it's generally more acceptable for a woman to do it, there's still a weird stigma surrounding the whole concept of actually wanting to be around to raise your children. That as a woman, I want to hold every drooly poopy baby that passes me by. Thanks. I've had people literally try to hand me their babies and I've turned them down. "Do you want to hold her?" Not really. Also, the times I have held babies I feel no connection or sense of, or that I guess every other female feels. Only awkwardness. Also my friends mock me for the way I hold them. I'm a 22-year-old female and I have never held a baby in my life. Men have offered, but I politely refuse. To be quite honest, I can't stand them. I went to a Catholic high school. Girls who got pregnant we asked to leave because it was against our Catholic belief to have sex before marriage, but the fathers of the children were not asked to leave. Right now, in the next room, a family member is trying to convince someone it doesn't make him less of a man to report physical abuse at the hands of his dumped other wife. Go help him. Trust me, I would be there in a second if I could, but he's a few states away and the shit happened like a week ago. He's fine right now. She's out of the country. It's not the first time it's happened though, and it came up on the phone earlier. Apparently he dropped the divorce bomb tonight, so that's good. I'm a female doctor, and I frequently fly with a few items of medical equipment, stethoscope, otoscope, etc. I put it in its own separate bag bin, because they always search it. That's our agent. While searching the bag will ask everyone else in line, "Sir, are you a doctor?" Before finally turning to me and asking, "Miss, are you a nurse?" My mom's a doctor, and my dad was a house husband. One time I got sick in elementary school, so I went to the nurse, who was going to call my parents to come get me. The nurse asked me where I could call my mom, and I said she was probably busy at work and she should call my dad. The nurse ignored that and asked where my mom worked. The intensive care nursery at blah blah medical center. Okay, who should I ask for? Dr. Zappa? No, you mean Mrs. Zappa. She's a doctor. No, you mean a nurse. No, she's a doctor. So she looks up the number in the phone book and calls the ICN. The receptionist answered, and thanks to the giant 1990s corded telephone, I could hear both ends of the conversation. "Hello, may I speak to one of your nurses, Mrs. Zappa?" When my mom got on the phone, and the school nurse explained the situation, my mom was like, "Okay, well, I'm doing rounds right now. Why don't you call his father?" Too long didn't read. My mom's a doctor, but the school nurse couldn't believe that was possible. And that's why she's a nurse at a school. 40 people died in an attack, including 20 women and children. I guess the rest were just men. Oh well. This comes from the days when every adult male was in the military. Women and children used to mean civilians. That doesn't make it any less stupid today though. Basically, interacting with kids you don't know, or hell, even kids you do know. If a woman does it she's being cute and stuff. When a guy does it people expect him to be a creep. Like when you see a kid that has lost her parents in a store. When a female takes that kid by the hand to search for his parents it's a nice gesture to comfort the kid. When a guy does it, he's a potential rapist. This, for reference, I'm a 23-year-old guy. Back in August, I went to a water park with some friends. At the water park, they had one of those playground things with a giant bucket that dumps 1,000 gallons of water on the people below every 90 seconds or so. My friends and I are having a blast just running around, shooting each other with water guns and getting dumped on by the bucket. Some little kids see us playing and want to join in. So naturally I start playing with them too, shooting them with water, running around like an idiot. Guess who gets chastised by his friends for being a creeper? Me. So bullshit. Just because I'm good with kids doesn't mean I'm a pedophile. This bullshit gets me more angry than just about everything. For reference, I'm a 20-year-old guy. Almost all of my younger cousins are female. As is my duty as an older cousin, I'm often asked to babysit. I'm fine with this as my little cousins are awesome. One day I'm at the park with my 4-year-old cousin, watching her play in a sandbox with other kids when it begins to rain. So knowing that she can't run fast I simply pick her up and begin to walk to the car. She starts to cry because apparently she has never had as much fun in her life as she did when she was in that sandbox. Some lady sees me carrying off a crying child and decides that I am obviously trying to kidnap her, so she runs over and starts yelling at me. By this time the rain is really starting to come down, so I ignore her and continue walking. This apparently threw the woman for a loop as she got in front of me and tried to take my little cousin from me. Being a rational person I shoved the duck out of her and put my little cousin into the car and drive off. Over the next hour I had to tell the entire story no less than 4 times. The entire time the woman is standing in the background yelling profanities at me. So I ended up calling my cousin's mother to come over and set everything straight. Too long didn't read. Apparently male babysitters don't exist. If I'm gone for a week hardly anybody bats an eye, but while my wife was away for a week the help came from every direction. Why the scare quotes? Because the help actually consisted of every female family member and friend of my wife treating me like a ducking child. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, childcare, you name it. They assumed I couldn't handle it, and then the looks of condescension when I said I could manage just fine. Thank you very much. Their mouths said well, cool if you need anything, but their eyes said oh his poor children. I appreciate offers of help, but not when they are founded on pity. And where's the help for my wife when I'm not around? I'm getting married in 22 days. No exceptions, professional involved with putting on our wedding has emailed my fiancé, but not me. She's had to forcibly insert me into the conversations, even when I am the one who sent the initial email. The wedding coordinator actually ignored her adding me to the email conversation the first time. She had to add me a second time. When we talk in person, they attempt to pull her off to the side and discuss the events away from me, since it'll all be up to her. Even some of our friends have found themselves referring to it as her big day before being glared at and reminded that it's both of us. People, I am half of the marriage. My opinions about this wedding matter. Even if every bridal show magazine whatever ever makes it out that the bride demands solitary control, my fiancé, who has an anxiety disorder and gets extremely upset when she has to deal with too many open-ended questions, does not appreciate you taking me out of the conversation, and neither do I. Edit. Clarity. I'm a divorced dad. I have my kids more than half the time. I do most of the communications with school. I register them every year and I put both email addresses down. I'm in the school about every other day. Emails from the school very often still go to their mom and not me. I always copy my ex-wife on every email, but sometimes the responses go only to her. Luckily, we get along and she forwards to me. But seriously, WTF? I'm a lady and I've always found it incredibly stupid that women are supposed to have their choice for every aspect of a wedding. This is no longer the days where that one special day is all we get before we are thrust into a life of homemaking. So both people should have input on the wedding. Best comment of the day. Feminism. We are fighting for you too, guys. So we redefine masculinity and you can be sensitive and can talk about your feelings and you can wear pink. Asterisk man complains, expresses discomfort or gets offended by males being depicted as literally the worst thing to have ever happened. Ever. In every piece of media asterisk lol masculinity so fragile. Or how about, woman, you don't have an uterus. You don't get to have an opinion the same woman. Why aren't men expressing their support for what I want? Or, well, pretty much anytime they set standards for men, they will inevitably proceed to fail to hold themselves up to those same standards.